There is luminous yellow jacket. By the way, you gone there?
We're looking at the cables.